Alright, so we just got some more news for Sonic Prime. If you don't know what Sonic Prime is, I mean, I guess you must have been off the internet for like, I don't know, like 2-3 days. Man, you actually got a life? Like, really? Like 2-3 days? Like, is this 2003 again? Okay. So yeah, Sonic Prime is the Netflix TV show featuring Sonic the Hedgehog, which is coming in 2022. And given that the entire voice cast right now is essentially being replaced, we don't know if they're keeping Mike yet. It means that they're clearly going into a whole new age with this show. And honestly, with the entire series in general, I mean with the games as well, like we talked about this in the Infinity Stones video. The stones are being destroyed one by one. Nonetheless, now that we're leaving the meta era, this show is clearly leaving that whole comedic, self-referential shit in the past, because based on this new information, basically it's looking good. Okay, so to start, we've got our first information on who's going to be working on the show. We already know that WildBrain and Man of Action Entertainment are the companies working on the show, but now we actually have confirmed writers. One of these writers is a man named Justin Peniston. He says on Twitter, "Filed under things I can finally announce. Guess what show your boy has been writing for?" Also, shoot me if I ever again refer to myself as your boy. I mean, I don't know what's wrong with referring to yourself as your boy. You know what I mean? But basically he says, yes, he's writing for Sonic Prime. So you're probably thinking, if he's writing, like, has he done something noteworthy that can give us some assurance that he's gonna be on the right path? Well, he's written some episodes for Avengers Assemble, which is obviously a Marvel cartoon based on the Avengers, featuring Roger Craig Smith as Captain America. Oh, I've got to see this. I haven't watched it, but it has got a 7.0 on IMDb, and for a child's cartoon, I think that's pretty good. He's also done some work on Mega Man Fully Charged. I mean, that only had a 4.2 out of 10, so I'm not holding out for that particular thing. But I mean, everyone's got a history, right? Like, not everything you make is gonna be perfect. Like, we all can't be Christopher Nolan. He also works on his own webcomic called Hunter Black. Now, I've taken a look at the comic. I haven't read the whole thing or anything, but just looking at this image on its own, like, clearly the tone that we've got here is essentially what we want to see. Something that's a bit more Samurai Jack and a bit less Dora the Explorer, you know what I mean? So far so good. We've also got another confirmed person working on this show, and that is Duncan Rouleau, one of the main members of Man of Action Entertainment who are working on the show and have worked on shows like Ben 10, which I think is the perfect kind of tone for this Sonic TV show. Ben 10 balances the serious with the comedic and is still appealing to children while not making adults cringe. No offense, Pontac.
Baldy nose hair! I gotta remember that one.
Duncan says on the tweet, well, the Hedgehog is out of the bag. Man of Action Entertainment have been cooking this up for years. They've been working on the show for years, they said, which means, plural, I graduated. Okay, plural, that's at least 2 years. Like, it's crazy how long they take to work on these things. Like, we were sitting there in like 2019 drought and they were working on this show 2020 toxic drought. Like, we were comparing our favorite dash panels on Twitter in 2020 and they were working on this show. It's interesting how long they put into these things. But it says it will be some time until it's released, but we couldn't be more excited about being part of such a massive undertaking as this show promises to be. Updates to come. Now, some Sonic fans went out of their way to ask some questions, and he did respond to some of them. So someone asked, I'm pumped, but that leaves a question. Out of curiosity, would this make Sonic's multiverse part of the Man of Action multiverse? Ben 10, new Ben 10, Generator Rex, and all of that? Then Duncan responds, Sonic's got his whole thing. He's got an entire Sega world to explore in the next several years. After having said that, I can't rule out crossovers. They have a lot of contracts to overcome. It would need the Infinite or Alien X moving things in the background, referencing obviously Ben 10. Someone else also asked, I just realized you're making a Sonic series. Does this mean you're going to make a gigantic Sonic universe like Ben 10 has? And then Dominic responds, there already is one. We're just adding to it. Now, some people have already taken this to mean that it's going to be set in the game universe, which I completely disagree with. I don't think it's going to be like, apparently the IDW comics are like based off Forces or whatever. I don't think that's what they mean by we're just adding to it. I still think they're going to do their own thing. They're just not making a separate universe in the sense that they're going to bring in all their Ben 10 characters for sure or anything like that. Maybe there'll be crossovers, but they're not putting it in their own world in the same way. Sonic is his own thing. He's got his own universe. They're going to respect the canon to a degree, but I still believe that it's going to be its own thing. I don't think this is a confirmation that it's just going to copy whatever the next game is. I don't see that being the case at all. I still believe that this show is going to be unique and maybe carry a similar tone to what the new games are going to be, because it's clear the new games are not going to be meta again, at least based on this direction with Sonic Prime. I believe the new games are going to be something a bit more serious. I believe that's the direction that we are going in. Hopefully that starts off with adventure remakes to prove the death of the meta era. Also, someone said, any chance you could ballpark the vibe / tone for us? And Duncan responds, Generator Rex and maybe even a little more. Now, the reason why this is so important is because Mega Man Fully Charged is the more lighthearted babyish show, whereas Generator Rex, I never watched Generator Rex, but Gamer Guy tweeted one clip from the show, and I watched that clip and I was like, thank the Sonic gods. The death of the meta era is actually happening. I'll leave a link to the tweet in the sources in the description. I know you guys don't like reading descriptions, but just check out that tweet because copyright, I can't post it on the video. But when I saw that, I was like, yes, this is not going to be some meta bullshit. This is going to be something that actually takes itself a little bit more seriously than a show made for people that still watch the tweenies. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean to disrespect the tweenies like that. I mean, that's a goated child show. I mean, we all grew up watching the tweenies, right? I mean, those of you who aren't British, you're like, what the fuck is Prem talking about right now? But tweenies is some goated shit, okay? As for the whole crossovers thing, I just want to discuss that quickly because I did grow up watching Ben 10. It wasn't like my go-to show, and that's not a dig to the show at all, because honestly, I was kind of watching less cartoons around 2005. I turned 10 that year, and I was moving more into the live-action Nickelodeon shit, like Drake and Josh, Keenan and Kel, Amanda show, shit like that. So I was actually going down on the cartoon watching at that point, but I knew people that liked Ben 10, and I saw some episodes. I was like, this is a good show. Like, it's a legitimately quality show. Probably would have been one of my all-time favorites had I been born like a few years later or so. And it would be interesting to see these kind of crossovers. I mean, I don't know how Sonic and Ben 10 will interact. I know you lot hated Chris Thorndyke in Sonic X for some reason. Unpopular opinion, I never hated Chris, but I don't know if people are going to reference like, oh, it's another human in the Sonic world, and you know, human bad, you know, anthro good and furry porn good. Like, I don't know what you guys want, but for me, like, I think the crossovers would be interesting. I don't want it to turn into like the whole thing as a crossover, but to have like one episode or 2 episodes in the season where there's some kind of crossover could be interesting, which is why I want them to do their own thing and not so much force themselves to be tied to the games. I'm not saying they should completely change the canon or anything. I'm just saying with this whole multiverse thing they're going on, I don't want them to be tethered to the games. Like, Mania was a great game on its own, but instead of giving it its own conclusive ending, they added a portal to tie it to Forces as a way to bring in Forces, and then Forces is trash. So Forces in a way is like connected to Mania, but then it's shit. It's kind of annoying. It's like, if the game is trash and it has a certain story element to it that now has to be replicated in the show, then now the show is going to be affected by the game being trash in a sense. Whereas if the show does its own thing and the game does its own thing, they don't rely on each other for quality. They just do their own thing. Like Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog or SatAM or Underground, they weren't connected to Sonic 2 or 3 or Adventure at that point. Like, they just did their own thing. So I really think people just jumped the gun with that statement that they said they were going to keep it within the game world. They're going to do their own thing. They're just going to respect the source material. That's a bit different from it is tethered, okay? And I'm so glad that it doesn't seem like it's going to be tethered. Of course, you haven't seen like an actual reveal, like a trailer or something. Maybe we'll see something later in the year. And when we do, I'll be sure to give my reaction and my thoughts. It seems like everything's on point. We've got writers that understand the character, who understand the kind of tone we're looking for, the potential for crossovers with other franchises. And I mean, come on, it's going to be the first 3D animated Sonic TV show that is actually serious. All that's left to know now is like, who's the voice cast gonna be, because that will determine how we connect with the characters, and what's the budget of the show. Like, what's the CGI level going to be like? Is it going to be like Boom? Let's hope not. Let's hope it's higher. It's not going to reach Unleashed intro levels, obviously. Like, that's just too high for an entire show, but somewhere in between that I think will be a sweet spot, right? But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this information. Are you looking forward to this show? Do you think this has the potential to be one of the best Sonic TV shows or one of the worst Sonic TV shows? But yeah, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell, subscribe to the non-Sonic channel, link in the description. But that's all I have to say right now, so Remy out.